by Mr. Darko Beats.
Welcome back. Welcome to New York, episode 159 of the Post 90 podcast. We went into Toronto. We were able to brace the storm that is Bernadeschi, Insigne, and the mythical Sean Johnson, I guess, that likes to rear his head every once in a while. And for the first time, we got that wrath used against us.
Yeah. I was telling you yesterday, I think it was his first good game against us, like in history. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because there's not too much to write home about the game in general. The fact that we did go ahead and get our first road win since September of
2024.
Yeah,
like September 24th, 28th, 2024.
A long time.
We just talked about it last episode. We rattled off all those away game stats. Right. I think the title of our episode was like, "We suck at away games" or something,
right.
To that effect. So to 180 it immediately is what the club
well,
needs.
Yeah. 180 is interesting because I don't think we necessarily played well at all. When you look at some of the match ratings, I think there was nobody over like a 50% of whatever scale you want to put out there. We just managed to have the key moment go our way, really, with the pen. And kind of touching on the pen a little bit, I know I finished watching it again, and I think we always do a really good job of calling out the refs when things go negatively against us. In my opinion, I think we got to hold our hands up on this one, and like, had it not been called a pen on the field, it probably doesn't get given at all. Alonso is not only looking for the contact, but like kind of initiates the contact as well. So I think we're really, really lucky to go and get the 3 points. I need to see, in my opinion, a little bit more from the team in terms of energy and being on the front foot to really believe that there's a 180, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a catalyst performance like we talked about last week. I feel like when I think of like a catalyst or something that's going to like kickstart and really kind of change the vibe or the culture of the locker room, you think of back to our last away win, like the 5-1 thrashing of Red Bulls.
Right.
So I think you're right. We're still due something like that to really feel like we kind of have the wins at our backs when we go to these away games. I believe we're coming back home, but if we can build on these performances, I think Tavon said it in the post game too. It's a lot bigger than just getting the points on the game, being able to like build on that momentum, and it helps a little bit too when we get to come back home after the fact. And I think in a lot of ways, a lot of fans think that home games are kind of just like automatic dubs, and maybe that's something confidence-wise that the players feel too, just with them all talking about building on momentum. But that's what we're gonna have to do moving forward.
Yeah, talking about Tavon a little bit too. For him to get his first start in a long time, I thought he played really well. Not only that, but he goes and gets that milestone of 100 appearances for us, which if you look back to the 2020-2021 season when he was first kind of breaking into the lineup, I think we all saw like a really good talent and that there was potential there. But I don't think that we ever thought that, Tavon would turn into a 100 performance guy with, after 100 to get your name on that wall, and you're among, the David Villas and stuff like that of the club that are really, really, held in a great light.
Mm-hmm. And think about how quickly he was able to do that. If 2021 playoff run or cup run was his coming out party essentially, so you only have 2022, 3, and 4 to rack up all those performances in 30 games a season. Like, I'm doing the math in my head. Once he made that statement in that cup run, like, he essentially started every game since then, or made an appearance every game since then,
right,
to get to that 100 mark.
And think like the blessing in disguise that was Tinnerholm going down with that injury. Like,
we never would have thought it at the time. At
the time, that was literally the end of our world. That Tinnerholm was like everything to this club and more. I mean, Tinner boom. You think about all of the banger goals and the assists and a lot of the positive offensive play going through him. Mm-hmm. To think that him going down was actually going to be a benefit in allowing this kid to come in, homegrown kid from the area, to come in and really take over that position is crazy to think about. And now we're sitting here, he just hit 100 appearances. Like, it's hard to imagine.
I feel like it flew by. Like, genuinely, he got into the lineup and he never left it. Aside from, like, injury.
Doesn't it make you feel, like, a little old? You've seen this kid. Like, when he started, it was like, oh, this kid gets a shot and, we go and win a cup, and that's such a cool thing. Hometown kid winning a championship for his team. And now we're sitting here 4 years removed from that.
Yeah, 4 years is crazy since the cup.
Thinking like, oh, he just hit 100 appearances.
And now he's like a vet in the lineup.
Yeah.
Like in a way. I don't know exactly how old is Tavon at this point? Like 20?
If we had to...
I would say 23.
23? I would bet...
Maybe even younger, because even when he came into the lineup,
22?
right, he was...
He was real young.
Yeah, he was real young. He was like...
Let me see.
Not Shore or Carrizo young, but...
No, he's 22.
22, yeah. So, I mean...
Dude, his birthday is 2002. Like, what even is that?
So he's about to be 23 at some point this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
August, I think.
Okay, well, yeah, so it's weird. And it's weird, too, to have players at that age that are vets in the lineup. And it's, I think, very powerful to be able to have that. Like somebody like Tavon, who has been within our system for so long. Yeah. Somebody like Hack, who's been within our system so long. Like, even Hack, I think, he's like 22 or 21.
Yeah, he's right in that range.
Because I think they were in the same class. Like, they won the cup for the youth team way back. But, like, yeah, having the valuableness, I don't even know, it's just a great thing to have these kids, like, genuinely they are kids in real life, in soccer life, like they are really, have they even like peaked at this point? Like, they still have like a good 2 to 3 years before they're at like...
They peak at our age.
I guess, yeah. Maybe not mine. 30's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
you're on the...
You're starting, you're like just over the hill.
Like 28, I feel like it's pretty... Like 26 to 28 is your peak.
Yeah. I mean, is there a world where we have a Tavon and a Justin Hack in their peak still at the club like 4 to 6 years from now?
Yeah. I mean, and that's not even a bad thing. Like, that's a good thing.
For us, that's a great thing.
It's a great thing, but it's like those are foundational pieces that we're going to have for a very long time. That
we're going to be building lineups around for 10 years.
You think about some of the best teams in soccer, not even MLS, but you have, foundation of a back line that you can rely on. Think back to Chanot, Collins, those type of pairings that you can just rely on all the time. Those guys are going to be, some of the stars of our debut season with the stadium. Yeah, and even I think like Maximo can fall into that fold before potentially like a next season. Shore has started his his climb to being really in the same exact conversation as those two guys. Like, Johnny will be what they are in 2 years. Yeah. And maybe I mean like an O'Toole.
An O'Toole as well, yeah. I don't think he's not a homegrown, right?
No, he's a draft pick. But just like a foundational
But even as a
piece.
draft pick, that kind of functions the same way. Like, you think of, that's really like your childhood club in a way. Like, that this like we're the club that took a shot on him out of every club.
The thing that's tough is though Cavallo seems to be like chomping at the bit to get in there, to transition to the other side of the field, which is O'Toole and Cavallo. Scary moment when I thought that O'Toole was done for the season. Just the way that the play looked, the way he was down in pain, calling for help and all that stuff. I genuinely thought that, something went wrong when Bernadeschi stepped on him. I thought, knee damage or, your brain just goes to the worst possible thing in that moment. And I just sent you a text like, I guess it's Cavallo season. Yeah. And like, I had full faith that if O'Toole was injured beyond, obviously he comes back into the game, plays for a while and gets the sub later. But, I had full faith in Cavallo to be able to come in and do that job for O'Toole. Right, and he ended up coming in end of the game, last 30 of the game. 70 or 20 minutes, something like that. And I think, unfortunately, Bernadeschi came out around the same time. So, like, maybe you would call that like a blessing in disguise, but also you kind of want to see these kids get tested against the best and like see them come out on top. With Cavallo, that was something that we saw in the New England game, I think, that we were at Yankee Stadium. That was his first start, and we were concerned about Ganago and Hill, and it very early on in that game seemed like Caleb Porter was using both Hill and Ganago to target Cavallo, and like he was not folding under the pressure. Right. Which was really great. Unfortunately, his body did that. Yeah, and then he got injured. His body did not... Within like 20 minutes. Did not last, yeah. Which was horrible. But like that's the type of, those are the type of promising things that you see in that maybe we start to apply too much
emphasis on, but like it's an exciting thing to see. And I think Cavallo is another one of definitely like a my guy in terms of players that like we really go hard for on the show. Like Hack would be one, Cavallo. I don't know.
Tavon's kind of always been a guy.
I just feel like that's kind of it's almost like a cop out because like if you hate Tavon, like you probably shouldn't. Just don't be a fan of this club.
Just don't have like an opinion, really.
Yeah, there's no reason to express that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to see these kids starting to really pan out. I feel like it's something that we've wanted for a long time, and we haven't really had. And maybe that's just a factor of the club being so young. But we're finally starting to see like the fruits of our academy.
Yeah, for the first time ever, really. Mm-hmm. And that's, you can give a lot of credit to Pascal. That's warranted because he's obviously giving these kids chances to actually play in the games. But you got to give the flowers to Nick, who really put all of that stuff in motion before he left.
Yeah.
He was putting, these kids in positions to come up for preseason, stuff like that. Like, he laid the foundation for all this stuff. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe breaking news, we know that I think we'll have another FIFA tournament this season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely giving away some tickets. I think TBD on the details of them because I don't want to commit to something that we don't actively have in our Ticketmaster account.
Fair enough. But by the sounds of the communications, it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, and we're targeting gaming night, which seems like a perfect
pairing.
Yeah, perfect pair. Playing DC United too, so chance to see Benteke in the flesh. I don't think we've had the opportunity to do that yet. Did we see him last season?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't stick around for him though.
Yeah, probably not. Well, he got the Golden Boot last season. I don't know exactly. I mean, I haven't heard DC United making waves over there, so I can't imagine that Benteke is kind of banging him in like he was last season. But I think still a exciting game, and DC United in general, I think, has always been kind of a scrappy opponent with us. They're like one of the original MLS clubs, so there's a little bit of history there too. But like they always kind of give us a good game. I remember, games of past with Rooney there, obviously first as a player and then a manager. So
freezing colds, raining,
just
disgusting game outside.
Yeah,
of course that lends itself to a Rooney game where he's used to like a rainy Manchester.
Right.
But it's super exciting. Make sure you sign up when we do throw that link out because I don't want to have to be the bad guy and enter like last year and, win the tournament, ruin the fun for everybody. Like, make sure you guys sign up.
And I do believe last year was a pretty Cinderella story-esque thing. Like, we sent some kid and his dad out to the Derby at City Field.
Was that what it was? Oh, yeah. That was what it was.
I think we were supposed to be there, but we didn't end up being there. Obviously, he was still able to attend, and I want to say we won 2-1 there, right? Or maybe, yeah. So, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that
winners going to games from post-90 tournaments are batting 1,000 on seeing a win.
How cool for that kid, too, to be like, Dad, guess what we're doing?
Yeah.
Like, we get to go to the game because I won the tournament.
And it's like an August 30th game, so we're talking...
warm.
Yeah, we're not going to get one of those rainy nights against DC that you were just referencing. So
if you're over 21, you can win it.
Yeah, I don't even know.
And then you get your big, think of it as like the boy math or whatever they call it now. I feel like I'm saying that too. But like, you get the ticket for free. Now you got how many free beers?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, tickets I don't know what the prospective ones cost.
Yeah,
but
I don't either.
It's hard to say. But that's upcoming. From a housekeeping perspective, I feel.
New signing we didn't talk about.
Aiden O'Neill.
Which, who knows? I'm not watching a ton of Australian League ball.
Or Belgian, is that?
Wherever.
Eredivisie, I think.
No, Eredivisie is.
Oh, well,
Dutch.
I think Standard Liège. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to pronounce it. But I think, are they in the Eredivisie? Can't be.
No.
I got to sound so dumb right now.
No, Eredivisie is Dutch.
Okay, so Standard Liège is definitely Belgian because that's where Ronnie went after he left us.
Okay.
Yeah, which was...
And he was a former Melbourne player, right?
Correct.
City.
Yeah. I think he played 3 years at Melbourne, won 2 cups with them or 2 leagues. And I guess is the captain, or was the captain at Standard, which is definitely something to take note of. I know there is a collective of NYCFC fans that would very much welcome a new captain. I'm not going to pretend on day -1 of Aiden's time at the club that like his name is immediately in the hat. But from like potentially a long-term project perspective, like that could be something we look to.
Yeah, and he's not like a super young guy, but he's not old either. So you kind of get the perfect mix of leadership, but also somebody who could be here for a long time. Familiar with CFG, been with the football group for a while, not for a while, but before. And yeah, he's kind of a DM that can, has a goal in him. So yeah, I think any signing would have been a good signing this season, just based on pure numbers. Like we were literally sitting at $0 spent for 99% of the window because we ended up getting that done on deadline day.
Literally.
So yeah, I mean, excited to see what he can do. Excited to see, how he can push Perea and Keaton and Johnny and all these guys to kind of be better versions of themselves just by way of competition and all that stuff. So any signing is good signing. I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, and in a weird way, it kind of is a position of need just based on what we've seen from Pascal, I think, lineup and rotation-wise. Like, we've long on this show, not long because it's only like the 9th week of Pascal ball, but have been interested in trying to understand what the plan with Johnny Shore is on a game-to-game basis, because oftentimes it seems matchup-based, I guess. He feels like Johnny can boss a midfield against the Revs, but then he can't start the next game against whoever it is, Minnesota, or he only plays like a half and then he's out, and then you unfortunately then have to jumble the lineup. You have to pull Hack out of center back and get him up top, then you have to fit Burke in, who hasn't been up to it at times this season. So having a guy like Aiden, that pretty much allows you to cement Justin Hack as the starting center back.
I was just going to ask you that,
because you no longer have to yank him. If we're signing Aiden because he is going to play minutes with his club, that, in my opinion, is the mentality behind it. You no longer Hack is no longer a part of the midfield.
Yeah,
what that means.
That's funny that you say that. That was literally going to be my question. Is like the signing of Aiden, does that fully cement Hack's position as a center back and a center back only? I've been of the camp early on that, Hack is so much better at defense. There's no reason to put him in midfield other than
availability
issues, or you really want to lock down and be defensive. But there's just no reason to do it. Hack is so much better at defense and at that center back role that he really shouldn't be displaced for anybody, and that's including Burke or Tana or anybody on the roster. Like, it's him and Thiago Martins, and if anyone's getting replaced, it's Thiago Martins.
Yeah.
Despite the DP tag.
I think I think we've seen enough for that to be true.
Yeah.
And that signing, I think, cements it. Like that. That's almost, it's saying it out loud without saying the words to me.
And even, it's one thing for us because we're big Hack guys, and I think people at the club are going to kind of give him, if he really had a 6-star performance, he's probably getting like a 7 on the rating scale for us. Even Apple TV commentators, which are largely Red Bull's influence and leaning in that camp, even these guys are coming out and being like, Justin Hack is playing at such a good level at this point. There's no reason you put him in the midfield at all.
You can't do it anymore, and you don't have to. Ideally, Aiden comes, and I mean, I guess I'm not really sure what the ceiling is for this guy at the moment.
Well, yeah. You want to see him like in America first.
Yeah, and
training and all that.
You see a lot of standard fans, maybe not a lot, like 4 or 5 standard PFP Twitter accounts, which, I mean, we have our host of NYCFC PFP Twitter accounts that also at times have horrible takes.
Yeah. From
time to time, I think fans in general have horrible takes. And them just dogging him, to be honest. Probably like 3 or 4 accounts. And one thing that I could not get out of my brain when we kept talking, or when I kept reading it, they were like the worst captain for standard ever. And then you look at their historic captains, and I think one of them was like Witzel.
Okay.
Who is arm and leg above, I think expectation-wise, what you're expecting out of a Witzel on the up-and-coming, probably just running through the club as a moment in his career of growth, as a stepping stone, as opposed to Aiden, who I think is at a point, I want to say he's 26, 28 years old, is looking for like a forever home, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
hear
he's
you.
trying to find the level that he is at his best at. Kind of like when he was in Australia, he played his best ball. But he's not a guy, like Standard is not a stepping stone for Aiden. And I don't
Right.
think NYCFC is a stepping stone for Aiden. I think it's like a means to an end to like be playing football professionally at a high level within the environment
With some security.
of the league that you're in, yeah. But you're not like, what has Witzel done in his career? Like he's obviously moved on and been incredible,
like,
right? Like
Bundesliga, the whole nine.
Yeah, some of the biggest teams in the world. And like that is, you know, I feel like those are the things that those player image PFPs just can't really comprehend. It's like,
But also it's like, how can just some guy on Twitter know the leadership and all that stuff that goes into being a captain from their house, like with their phone?
also, we are just some guy on Twitter.
Correct.
So,
And that's
like-
why we would never ever know. And so to be like,
But like if somebody stumbles
so
across,
to a degree we would actually know better because
I guess.
we can see the tunnel interactions, we can see some of the locker room interactions, we can see how they act outside of, you know, the scope of a camera.
Right.
Whereas these dudes are literally just tuning into TNT Sports on a random like 7 p.m. night and
Right.
being like, no, actually this guy sucks and he's a bad leader.
Yeah. And it's the same as like if we just didn't like a player, not personally, but like what we typically see from him on the field. I'm trying to think of like a player in the past that people disliked. Ring, yeah. Like I think there's a lot of NYCFC fans that really like Ring, and I think there's a lot that really don't. And I think some of the people within the media sphere lean a bit more towards the really don't like him just because of, at times, his interactions with everybody.
It's just the reports.
Both the reports and like publicly the same, you know, that kind of aligns with the reports that you see. But like we could just tweet like Alex Ring was our worst captain ever, and then like, you know, an Austin FC person at the time could have just read that, and now that's like something that people run with.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to take everything with a grain of salt. I saw people like screenshotting these Standard fans tweets and like kind of assigning it as complete truth about Aiden, which to me doesn't seem like that's very reliable information.
Well, it's also like, how are you gonna throw the dude out already?
On day negative
You've
one.
never even seen, he's not, I don't know that he's touched American soil yet.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't even held the jersey up
I don't think
on
so.
American soil.
I
Hasn't
think
been to a
everything
training.
we've seen has been Photoshopped, like the kit photos and stuff like that.
That type of stuff is semi-spiraling, so.
Yeah, I think that first interview thing too, we talked about it ourselves, but I can't remember which player it was. I want to say when we first signed Santi or somebody, they were doing their interviews at CFG.
Right.
On Man City's campus, and that was like a documented thing, and it was the same background of what we saw Aiden. And so
Yeah.
and
Because they had visa issues. Or
and a
something.
few times I think the fans as a community have been able to identify like, oh, this guy's still not in the country based on that. So it seems like maybe it's something like that, and you know, who knows how difficult at this point it is to get a visa into this country anyways.
Well, it didn't get easier.
Yeah, it didn't get easier. Yeah. If I'm David Lee, I'm blaming that to save my job. I don't know. I got to figure something out because now we're at a point though where the window's closed, right?
Yep.
And we can look at the window as a whole, and really all you can look at is the Aiden signing being brought in. And from like a grade perspective, it has to be like an F minus, right, for Lee?
A D.
A D?
A D, because like an F means you didn't do anything. You didn't turn the assignment in.
I guess.
In theory, like he put his name on the sheet. You got the date correct.
Yeah. On the final day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still have the summer window to look forward to, but I don't know that there's any like looking forward at this point.
Well, I like I was telling you, I wanted to start that rumor and generate some grassroots, you know, attention to somebody. Coutinho, the Coutinho, is ending his loan with whatever club he's at, going back to Aston Villa in June.
D. Coutinho, you say, by the way, as a Man U fan, on the post a few days after Liverpool wins the league, by the way.
No comment.
I'm just saying for fellow Man U listeners, just clock what your man is doing here. Continue.
No comment on that ref-assisted BS Premier League title that I'm sure Matt will just, our friend Matt will just soak up for years to come.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Everyone needs a little help from their friends every once in a while, and it is what it is.
And maybe there's some kind of universe alignment with, I think Arnie Slot was the manager of Pascal's club before him. So maybe...
Fair. And he won a first-year title this year, so...
Maybe the juju is
that's good.
Around. But Coutinho, you were saying.
So Coutinho, is going back to Aston Villa, but Aston Villa, has 99 different players that are going to start above him. He is,
He's a Maxi replacement?
Yeah, getting towards the end of his career, but I think a similar age to when we signed Maxi for the first time. Perfect Maxi replacement. He would be everything and more to this club. Like, he would absolutely hit the ground and just torch the league. That's somebody that I'd be knocking on the door of Aston Villa. And they're keen to loan people at the moment. He's been on 3 straight loans.
Yeah.
And so even if we were to get him on that type of basis, I'm not sure how the rules work with loans
yeah.
But we were able to do it with guys like Angelino and stuff like that. So if there's anybody that's on my list, it's him. Like a loan to buy situation.
Yeah, I wonder if we would have to wait until a transfer window.
So if his ends in June, I think we'd be able to do it, even though we start a little bit later than June. Because ours is August?
Yeah, summer window, yeah.
But even then you get the agreement, and I think loans can be anything. I could be talking out of my ass, I have no idea.
And this could be a trick question, maybe not. And maybe I sound like the dumbest person ever for saying it, but the other guy, the other Cam that we're talking about, that has been spoken about.
Yeah. Well, he becomes a free agent.
Which I think frees you of the transfer window thing.
You can do anything.
Yeah. Clearly, there's a 1A and a 1A and a 1B there.
And a 1C.
But who is?
Us.
Us at Cam?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
As a person?
Well, so
at Cam?
Yeah, because KDB and us will have the same team status at that point. We could sign with anybody.
You're not lying.
In theory, if they want to snatch us up.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm coming off of a hat trick performance last
True.
week. If there's any time to snatch me up.
Hat trick and an assist. I do have to. I'll big you up for that.
And yeah.
Yeah. 4 goal contributions.
But I was Matrita all game.
In what way? Not
defending.
Not helping your team.
Not defending. Just looking back and watching the damage happen.
You would not last in a Ronnie offense, I fear.
No, Ronnie would have shit my ass out a long time ago. But yeah, that's
a good shout. I feel like last time we talked about, what's his name, James, right? We talked about James, and we got a little bit.
Well, and we're going to see James play against the MLS All-Stars this year. And
that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if our club can give in to this, into bringing in the old legends thing.
But even Coutinho's not, Coutinho, he's a bigger name than Maxi was, obviously, when he came.
Way.
But
career-wise?
The stats really, since he left Liverpool, haven't been there.
Yeah.
It's Coutinho at Liverpool and then the rest of his career. Yeah. And that's not a lack of talent. It's just a lack of, at Barcelona, he was this big in a club 300 times his size. Mm-hmm. And he kind of fell to the wayside, and they're going to buy players every single year. And so I think it's a case of him kind of getting lost in that and being sent to loan at places he probably never imagined he would play in his life.
Right.
And now he's at this point where he can come to a big market team and be the star in the face of a franchise. That, to me, is super, super cool. And I don't think Coutinho's on a ton of people's radar, and I don't think that he's on
our radar,
a team's front office radar, because in your mind you're like, oh, I can't get a Coutinho.
Yeah.
But I think it's super possible.
I think it's a good shout. It's weird that we've totally abandoned the aging player method, when I think you could argue that we were one of the biggest proponents of it.
Yeah.
When we had Pirlo, Villa, and
Lampard. Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the best players from their top 5 players in each of their countries, each of those guys, all time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the shirt sales had to have been. Getting those checks every week must have been mint.
Yeah. I mean, it would help. I just feel like
Maybe that's what Lee needs to actually
To
buy
hear.
players is like some shirt sales.
that can't be true. based
Got to go
on
buy
what
an
we've
Alfonso
done.
shirt.
Based on what we've done.
Yeah, fair.
It just
I mean,
can't be.
literally.
I mean, who's buying when they came here? Ojeda or Julian or Hanez or literally any name that you can list since 2015. No outsider is interested in your club because of any of these guys.
Maybe Santi.
Yeah, maybe Santi, and he's gone.
So.
And we've passed on so many guys. I feel like we should have made a run at like Depay, he's in Liga MX now too, right?
Yeah.
I believe
Or
he
in
is.
Brazil.
James is there. Oh yeah, he's in Brazil. James passed up on.
Neymar in Brazil.
I don't know if he was passed up on or what the deal is there, but we just haven't like thrown our hat into a ring on a lot of these guys.
Just, Coutinho genuinely.
Maybe we start
cooks.
the campaign.
I'm telling you.
Maybe we see
If
Lee.
there's another David Lee press conference, I'm asking him. Okay, are you aware? I just want to put it on your desk because there's no other avenue for me to do this. I want to put on your desk that Coutinho does have a loan that ends in June, and there's no way that Coutinho is in Aston Villa's plans.
Yeah.
So what if you just gave him a call? Could you give him a call for me?
I genuinely wonder what like he
imagine
would say.
being David Lee and cold calling Aston Villa and being like, "Hey, we're looking into Coutinho."
Yeah. I mean, for us being a part of CFG, and maybe this is like one of the only good things about it, is like we do have a direct line, I think, to any club in the world about any player.
Yeah.
And like they're going to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to get... Yeah.
Or we can get Big Pro to call for us.
We could.
Like, hey, my little brother needs a PlayStation controller. You got something for him?
Yeah. I think you should do that.
I will.
I think you should genuinely do that.
I will.
Next David Lee presser.
And it's funny because it'll be the first time I ever ask him a question. It's like...
And the last time.
No, and yeah, in my expectation is that he's going to be like, wow, this dude like really thinks outside of the box. I should give him a job. And in reality, it's going to be like, don't ever invite that guy here again.
Yeah.
We can't have him here.
I mean, I'm trying to think of realistically what he would say. Because, like, he is on the other side of a screen and, like, actively has to respond to you.
Yeah.
Like, right then. And, like,
Yeah.
I truly don't know what he would say. Like,
So
we don't talk about our ongoing transfer plans. Thank you. Or, like, it would have to be.
Yeah.
But then what if we bring Coutinho in?
Right.
Like, you would actually be the guy.
I would need them to cut me like a finder's fee.
Yeah, you would actually be the guy.
There's no other conversation happening with Coutinho and NYCFC, so I did start it right here.
Yeah, you did.
So yeah,
Much like Thomas.
that's probably going to be 160?
159.
159.
One away. What home games do we have upcoming?
I know we got one on Sunday.
I don't know that we're going to that one. But
I can't.
no. But we'll make it out to another one soon, I think.
Yeah. Well, because we hit a little tough patch here because we got some stuff going on the home front, and then you're going to be leaving the country.
You know what?
And then it's June.
You know when we leave the country in July, you know how timing fucked we got?
What? It was Montreal the week before.
They play Montreal the week before. That we're
And we're
in
going-
Montreal on that Saturday.
So they play like what, the 1st?
June 28th.
Oh.
And then literally the next
In
weekend,
Montreal?
we're in Montreal playing them. We missed them by a week.
Yeah, we gotta change the whole vacation.
Yeah, I realized that, and it was depressing.
We could have pitched that.
Charlotte game July 12th, but we'll be in.
Who knows where I'll be?
Well, July 12th, is that? I don't know if that's still Canada or not.
That is, yeah.
Whatever. That's 159. Appreciate you guys listening, watching on all the platforms that you do.
We didn't sell out. I mean, it's just
grandpa level
the
rage.
worst. I mean, just the worst show, the worst hosts.
What would the question of the week have even been? Because maybe we can cut it at the start. Pen or not? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's like, yeah. We really don't have the luxury of, at this point, ideating on air.
We got to make the decision right now.
Assholes and didn't do it.
So yeah, if you made it to this point of the video, or if Editor Man decided to put it at the front of the video, go ahead and like the video below. Give us a sub if you watch us every single week, or even if you watch us every couple weeks. Clearly you like coming back, so have it show up in your sub box. The question of the week is going to be, was the Alonso penalty a pen or not?
Yeah, keep it at that.
Keep it at that. My vote is no penal.
Okay. I feel like people are just going to lie because we're NYCFC fans and we're going to say, hell yeah, that shit was a
I think
pen.
if you're being genuine, like if it was no call, we wouldn't be too tight about it.
Yeah.
But
well, we do a good job of that sometimes.
Sometimes.
Most of the time I does it. So this might be a hard cut now back to what we were previously talking, because I am going to try to cut it at the start. Because, we can no longer...
Drag it.
Yeah, we can no longer be the men that avoid our responsibilities. And this is one of them. So enjoy the rest of the episode, and then you'll hear from us again at the end of the episode, and the whole episode, because you're watching a podcast of us talking. So enjoy it.
We'll see you guys next week.
Wait, now teleporting to the end.
Yes.
For those of you that are still here, thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll talk to you guys after the game that we just talked about, which is Cincinnati upcoming. We didn't talk about it, but...
No, we didn't talk about it.
We talked about it loosely. We said there's a game at home upcoming.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at the end of that game.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys after...
3 p.m. Sunday.
Oh, that's a great game.
Yeah.
That's a great game.
Hope y'all had sun if you're there.
We'll see you guys then.
Yeah, peace.
Peace.